Hey everybody, welcome. Uh, so over the set championships for Ursula's return, I did place second place at the Nerd Store. There were only 19 people there, but it was a challenge format. Still, just one of the most fun ways that you can play the game, in my opinion. Um, Obviously, when you cut to top eight, you go right to best of three, and I took it all the way to the top. I played one of my best friends in the top. He's even playing the mirror match. We'll probably have him on at some point to explain why his deck beat mine. I like the first thing you probably noticed from this deck is there's no Sisus. It's a huge deal, and the mirror match is having Sisus, but I think not having Sisus is probably why I took this as far as it did. So I'm gonna go over every card in this deck and what its applications are and why they are in the deck. And there's a few random cards in here that you may not see in other lists, but they all do serve a purpose. Some cards are very, very self-explanatory. I won't spend too much time on them. Um, so we'll start with Judy Hopps here. A lot of people are only running her at 2. That's actually one of the reasons that I chose to run her at 3. She's really, really good. She even kind of unbricks your hands where you don't have Hiram, or to banish an item, you can always just draw one card off of her. She kind of replaces herself. And she's also really, really solid in the mirror match. She's really excellent against blue steel. You already have a good matchup in a blue steel, but this really takes the cake, being able to get rid of their fishbone quill right on turn 3. If you take a slower approach to blue steel with blue red, you will just always out resource them. The next card we're talking about, Belle. Belle is she's an interesting pick, I think, because there's better cards that you can be playing right now, but I still like her, even just as a one-of. She is inkable, and when she hits late game, if you already have the dime on board, it's basically game if they can't get rid of it. The only reason I don't like her too much right now is because she does just get brawled super easily. She's super easy to take out. But having her at 1 is really, really nice, and she kind of, even when you don't have like Fishbone Quill or Greatstone Dragon, she does let you ink an extra card, which is really bad into the Bucky matchup, as a lot of the stuff was. But, Grammatala is a self-explanatory 4-of. You kind of have to run her at 4. She sings, basically every song in your deck, except for Be Prepared. So that's a huge, huge deal. Specifically Be King Undisputed is an interesting pick, because she does sing that. It's kind of like, oh, I can, basically Lady Tremaine, but also I still have my 5 or, even just 4 ink, depending on how terrible your opening hand was. Flaversham is obviously is a very self-explanatory pick. He's always at 4. Same thing with 4 popsicles in the deck. He's the reason that the deck kind of runs itself. But that's pretty much it. Maui is probably, this is a weird opinion. I think Maui is probably gonna see a lot less play coming up. He felt the worst this season. He was always ink. When he came out, it was usually just a 1-for-1. It did not hit a lot of 2-for-1s like he always does. It was good against green steel, but it also just isn't good against green steel because he doesn't further your board much. He just kind of interrupts. And obviously, he's good for taking out castles too, but a lot of the time, as long as you can deal with the characters, you don't need to worry about that 2 lore that the castle is giving them. You need to worry about the card draw that they're getting. But Maui does take out castles in the pinch, which was nice, but he can't do it on his own. So I thought about playing the Hercules, but he's just uninkable, and I'm already at 20 uninkables in this deck, so even with Quill and Greatstone Dragon, it doesn't feel good. I am playing 2 Lady Tremaines. They're just so good for when, if you get somewhere and somebody's got ward, take out that ward character, kill everything else on their board, and just, drop a Lady Tremaine. Same thing with Be King Undisputed, and it is also really funny when you play a Lady Tremaine and the next turn you sing a Be King Undisputed and then drop another Lady Tremaine. Some people never expect that. Madame Medusa is pretty self-explanatory. Takes out almost everything that is a threat to you, except maybe like Tamatoa is obviously. I'm not playing any ice blocks in this deck. That's one of the reasons that you don't see like the Sea Susan in my build. Um, with ice blocks, she did take out a lot more, but yeah, that's kind of why I'm playing her at 3 instead of 4, and Tremaine at 2 instead. I'm playing a 1 of Ariel, not a card that people tend to run in blue-red very often, because there's not a lot of items. She is really, really, really good in the mirror match. You can put her on a board, and if your opponent is, your opponent has a crab and a dime or something, you might outrace them with an aerial and a dime just because. And if they get scared, then you force them to be prepared rather than you having to be prepared, which is a huge deal. She was one of my favorite picks. I almost played her at 2 and just took out the bell, but I think 1 and 1 is really good. She's a lot worse in the blue steel matchup. She usually just gets inked off a fishbone quill, or put to the bottom of your deck with a Tala or a Develop Your Brain. So Tamatoa at 4 is very self-explanatory. He not only gains you additional lore, he also allows you to keep your resources going by finding you popsicles, playing them. He even allows you to bring back a Vitalisphere, and you use Vitalisphere the moment you play it, and he can take out a castle on his own then. 4 of Maleficent Dragon is also kind of self-explanatory. A lot of people I've been seeing a lot of people actually cut this card down to 3 or even 2. I still really like her at 4. She is inkable. She is just wonderful removal, and she leaves a stick on the board. She doesn't get hit by things like Medusa either, so just an excellent all-around card in my opinion. But I think we'll see a little bit of a decline in her existence in decks. But that happens at the beginning of every set, and then she's a 4 of at the end of the sets anyways, so we don't know. We'll see what happens with Shimmering Skies. Develop Your Brain at 4 is very self-explanatory. It's just your 1-drop for when you don't have that popsicle. And it's even good late game to help you filter a little bit, especially if you're on like a streak of playing popsicles and off your crab or something. You see a Develop Your Brain, it just allows you to dig 2 more deep to find what you need. 1 jump at 4 is absolutely necessary. Playing a turn 2 1 jump is pretty much what allows your deck to go burr, really. It allows you to drop a turn 3 Flaversham, or even just a Fishbone Quill and then a second 1 jump. It really just allows you to go nuts. Brawl, a lot of people are running at 4. I brought Brawl down to 3 for this deck because I have so much other removal between Maleficents and Bee Kings and the Tremaines, and Be Prepared and everything. Brawl is so good, but it just did not feel amazing at the set championships that I was attending, so I did just bring it down to 3. I was never really hitting anything important with it, because really what you want to hit with it is unfortunately characters that have ward and you can't. It's really good in the mirror match because you just hit a hero, but you can also prevent the Flaversham from ever hitting the board by using a Judy on their popsicle or something. So if they have no items, they're not going to play him, or they'll even just ink him. But so Brawl's at 3 basically for those reasons. Was it dumb? Maybe. I don't think it's what lost me in the top 2. I think my stuff getting removed is what lost me in the top 2 because I was kind of all gas during those games. But Brawl never really helped me, and I saw it when I needed to. I'm drawing so many cards and filtering. So you can also mulligan for it if you desperately need it. Bee King Undefeated at 2 was just awesome. It won me so many games against Blue Steel. It won me so many games against Green Steel. I 2-0'd a couple Green Steel matches and with this deck specifically, and that's always felt like a terrible, terrible matchup. And I think Bee King Undisputed was definitely one of the cards that helped me through that, especially when you drop a turn 4 Grammatala or a Hiram, or you use a Hiram to sing it, and they're just not expecting it. They're like, whoa, oh my gosh, what the hell? Like, you can brawl their thing that they played, and then all of a sudden their Bucky is gone. It's just, they never know. So, very, very cool card. I was playing How Far I'll Go at 3. A lot of people say you have to run this card at 4, and I just completely disagree. I even didn't run it in a version of a list that I played at another set championship, and I didn't do amazing at that set championship. I started off 2-0 and just kind of lost out from there. I just had a stroke of bad luck, but you can attribute that to my playing too, and or maybe you can attribute to I wasn't playing How Faro goes and I wasn't playing B King Undisputed, and that I was playing kind of like a half Sisu variant, which just never felt good, at least to me. Obviously, the Sisu variant is what beat me in the top two, so there's definitely something to be said about the quality of that deck. But yeah, How Far I'll Go is, I think, an absolutely necessary card at this point. At how many in the deck, I can't say for sure. I don't think it's a 4 of. I like it at 3 a lot. I saw it when I needed. Sometimes it's just better to put that in your ink with a Fishbone Quill. So you never know. 3, Be Prepared. A lot of people I saw were cutting this down to 2, but those are also in the Sisu variants. I really like seeing Be Prepared, so I always want to have it, especially if you have you're doing one jump aheads and Fishbone Quills and something. Sometimes you have to make a play, and sometimes that Be Prepared is either in your ink or it needs to go into your ink, and that's kind of why I have that at 3, because I desperately need to see that card in most of my games. So Vitalosphere only at 2. The card is really, really cool, but with the way that I'm running this deck, I don't need that many items. Obviously, Ariel is a big thing, but she's not there for against item decks. She's there for when you're against a deck that doesn't run items, like Green Steel. Or even like Amber Steel Songs was a deck that we were starting to see towards the end there. So, but Vitalosphere helps you a lot against the purple decks. It really helps you take out the Queen's Castles. It helps you just take out when they turn guys sideways, because you can just play a Grammatala, do your searching, and then all of a sudden Grammatala is live and ready to take something out. So, Vitalosphere is really awesome. I would consider upping it to 4 maybe, but I'm not 100% sure. Maybe now with the new card, I can't remember exactly what card or what it's called. It's the 2-drop blue that puts an item into a player's ink while face down exerted, and that's inkable. I would definitely consider running 4 Vitalospheres if we're playing that card, which I'm pretty sure we're going to be playing that card at 4. It's one of the best cards in the set, in my opinion. Self-explanatory, 4 Popsicles. Popsicles are just... they're Popsicles. They draw a card on play, they're 1, they're inkable. You never really need to ink it, but there has been times where you have to ink it, unfortunately, but that's the nature of the game. So, obviously, they get recycled with Tamatoa. They get sent to the graveyard with Flaversham to draw you cards. You always want to see it in your opening hand, always. So you mulligan very hard for those. Fishbone Quill at 4. Some people are dropping these down to 3. Some people weren't even playing Fishbone Quill in favor of Greatstone Dragon. I'm not playing the low to the ground version of this deck, where you play like the Queen of Hearts. You might even play like the 1/3 mini, just to put characters in your discard. I think Greystone Dragon gets popped a little bit too easily, especially against Blue Steel, so I still need Fishbone Quill at 4, especially for a deck like this, where even if I am putting another Inkable in there with Fishbone Quill, it's still getting me extreme value. Greystone Dragon at 1, because the card is so good in the mirror match. Every character that you play is going to get torn apart, put right into your discard pile, and Greatstone Dragon's going to put it right back into your ink and allow you to make massive, massive late game plays. So it really is just for the late game and the the mirror match, really. But it's also pretty good against Blue Steel if they're not trying to take it out. But they do have a lot more removal options for items than we do. It's actually why I'm playing the Judy Hops instead of some other picks that I could be playing. And of course, 2 Lucky Dime. I wish I could run 7 Lucky Dime, but I don't think you should run it at more than 2. Maybe consider putting it to 3 if you say for Oswald when it comes out in set 6. Lucky Dime might be really, really, really cool to run at 3 or even 4, especially with Fishbone Quill in your deck, because you can just put those into your ink and not not even worry about them. Your goal would be to rip them off the top on turn like 3 or 4 and start your combos there. But Lucky Dime at 2 in this deck feels really, really good. It's pretty easy to find at 2, so there's that. So the deck went completely undefeated in the challenge format. So everything that I had was a draw, except I did win game 2 on those, which it does give you a little bit better tiebreaker. So I ended up second seat going into the top 8. So I played 7th place, who was playing a blue steel deck, which I was very happy to see. It was a very good matchup for me. And he got game 1 actually, which it put me on the hot seat for that. I was a little nervous, and luckily I was able to take the next 2 games, and it was kind of a blowout for those 2 games. So the matchup to blue steel is really good. It's always been really good, but it's not easy to say. It just has a higher win rate. But so I was super happy going in, and in the top 4, I played against another blue steel deck. Now this player had Ursula's champion mat at the time, and he had another one back at his house. He had won a couple championships, and our game took maybe 2.5 hours, and it came down to 1 turn for this. And so your blue steel matchup is not guaranteed, and it never has been. So it's one of those. It's just one of those situations where I did get very lucky going through the top 8 to play against 2 blue steel decks, because I'm not trying to rush. I'm not playing against something that I'm unfamiliar with. And then, of course, in the top 2, I played one of my best friends who's on essentially the same deck, but he has 2 of the 1/1 Sisus that take out a 1 power, and I think 3 of the 3-drop Sisus, and then 2 of the big Sisus, and he was just, oh my gosh, I got stomped. It was a bloodbath. It really was. Our top 2 match was over in maybe 25 minutes, and we were all talking and laughing along. The top 4 match was the serious one. But anyways, thanks for checking out this deck profile. Let me know what you think in the comments of what exactly this is, and what cards are going to be cut for the cards coming out in Shimmering Skies, or even if Red Blue will be playable at all in Shimmering Skies. So thank you.